it is to continue our Bible reading this morning. Thank God for the grace given. And we know that the Word of God is life, the Word of God is active, the Word of God is powerful, the Word of God is sharper than any two-edged sword, and it brings transformation indeed. This morning we're going to read Job 11 to the last chapter. I think that's chapter 42. Job 11 to 42. Then answered Zophar the Naamathite and said, should not the multitude of words be answered, and should a man full of talk be justified? Should thy lies make men hold their peace? And when thou mockest, shall no man make thee ashamed? For thou hast said, my doctrine is pure, I am clean in thine eyes. But oh, that God will speak and open his lips against thee. But oh, that and that he would show thee the secrets of wisdom, and that they are double to that which is. Know therefore that God exacted of thee less than thine iniquity deserveth. Canst thou by searching find out God? Can thou find out the Almighty unto perfection? It is as high as the heaven, and cannot thou deeper than hell? What canst thou know? The measure thereof is longer than the earth, and broader than the sea. If he cut off and shut up or gather together, then who can hinder him? For he knoweth vain men, he seeth wickedness also. Will he not then consider it? For vain man will be wise, though man be born like a wild ass colt. If thou prepare thine heart and stretch out thy hands toward him, if iniquity be in thy hand, put it far away, and let not wickedness dwell in thy tabernacles. Then shalt thou lift up thy face without spot, yea, thou shalt be steadfast, and shalt not fear, because thou shalt forget thy misery, and remember it as waters that pass away. And thine age shall be clearer than the noonday. Thou shalt shine forth, thou shalt be as the morning, and thou shalt be secure, because there is hope here. Thou shalt dig about thee, and thou shalt take thy rest in safety. Also thou shalt lie down, and none shall make thee afraid. Yea, many make suit unto thee, but the eyes of the wicked shall fail, and they shall not escape, and their hope shall be as the giving up of the ghost. Chapter 12. Sorry, just a moment. Okay, chapter 12. And Job answered and said, no doubt, but ye are the people, and wisdom shall die with you. But I have understanding as well as you. I am not inferior to you. Yea, who knoweth not such things as these? I am as one mocked of his neighbor, who calleth upon God, and he answereth him. The just upright man is laughed to scorn. He that is ready to sleep with his feet is as a lamp despised in the thought of him that is at ease. The tabernacles of robbers prosper, and they that provoke God are secure. Into whose hand God bringeth abundantly. But ask now the beasts, and they shall teach thee, and the fowls of the air, and they shall tell thee. Or speak to the earth, and it shall teach thee, and the fishes of the sea shall declare unto thee. Who knoweth not this, that the hand of the Lord hath wrought this? In whose hand is the soul of everything, and the breath of all mankind? Doth not the ear try words, and the mouth taste his meat? With the ancient is wisdom, and in length of days understanding. Before he breaketh down, and it cannot be behold, he breaketh down, and it cannot be rebuked again. He shutted up a man, and there can be no opening. Behold, he withholdeth the waters, and they dry up. Also he sendeth them out, and they overturn the earth. With him is strength and wisdom. The deceived and the deceiver are his. He leadeth counselors. He leadeth counselors. All right. With him is strength and wisdom. The deceived and the deceiver are his. He leadeth counselors away spoiled, and maketh the judges fools. He looseth the bonds of kings, and girdeth their loins with a girdle. He leadeth princes away spoiled, and overthroweth the mighty. He removeth away the speech of the trusty, and taketh away the understanding of the aged. He poureth contempt upon princes, and weakeneth the strength of the mighty. He discovereth deep things out of darkness, and bringeth out to light the shadow of death. He increaseth the nations that destroyed them. He enlarged the nations, and straightened them again. He taketh away the heart of the chief of the people of the earth, and causeth them to wander in the wilderness where there is no way. They grope in the dark without lights, and he maketh them to stagger like a drunken man. Chapter 13. Lo, mine eyes shall see all this, my ear hath heard and understood it. What ye know, the same do I know also. I am not inferior unto you. Surely I would speak to the Almighty, and I desire to reason with God. But ye are forgers of lies, ye are all physicians of no value. Oh, that ye would altogether hold your peace, and it should be your wisdom. Hear now my reasoning, and hearken to the pleadings of my lips. Will ye speak wickedly for God, and talk deceitfully for him? Will ye accept his person? Will ye contend for God? Is it good that he should set you out, or as one man mocketh another? Do ye so mock him? We will surely reprove you, if ye do secretly accept persons. Shall not his excellency make you afraid, and his dread fall upon you? Your remembrances are like unto ashes, your bodies to bodies of clay. Hold your peace, let me alone, that I may speak, and let come on me what will. What do I take my flesh in my Wherefore do I take my flesh in my teeth, and put my life in my hand? Though he slay me, yet will I trust him. But I will maintain my own ways before him. It shall also be my salvation, for an hypocrite shall not come before him. Hear diligently my speech and my declaration with your ears. Behold, I have ordered my cause, and I know that I shall be justified. Who is he that will plead with me? For now, if I hold my tongue, I shall give up the ghost. Only do not two things unto me. Then will I not hide myself from thee. Withdraw thine hand far from me, and let not thy dread make me afraid. Then call thou, and I will answer, or let me speak, and answer thou me. How many are my iniquities and sins? And make me to know my transgression and my sin. Wherefore hidest thou thy face, and holdest me for thine enemy? Without break a leaf driven to and fro, and without pursue the dry stubble? For thou writest better things against me, and makest me to possess the iniquities of my youth. Thou puttest my feet into also in the stocks, and looketh narrowly upon all my paths. Thou settest print upon the heels of my feet, and he, as a rotten thing, consumeth as a garment that is moth eaten. Chapter 14. Man that is born of a woman is of few days and full of trouble. He cometh forth like a flower and is cut down. He fleeth also as a shadow and continueth not. And dost thou open thine eyes upon such an one, and bringest me into judgment with thee? Who can bring a clean thing out of an unclean? Not one. Saying his days are determined, the number of his months are with thee. Thou hast appointed his bounds that he cannot pass. Turn from him, that he may rest, till he shall accomplish as an hireling his day. For there is hope for a tree, if it be cut down, that it will sprout again, and that the tender branch thereof will not cease. Though the root thereof wax old in the earth, and the stalk thereof die in the ground, yet through the scent of water it will bud, and bring forth boughs like a plant. But man dieth and wasteth away. Yea, man giveth up the ghost. And where is he? As the waters fail from the sea, and the food and the flood decayeth and drieth up. So man lieth down and riseth not, till heavens be no more. They shall not awake nor be raised out of their sleep. Oh, that thou wouldest hide me in the grave, that thou wouldest keep me secret until thy wrath be past, that thou wouldest appoint to me a set time and remember me. If a man die, shall he live again? All the days of my appointed time I will wait till my change come. Thou shalt call, and I will answer thee, and will have a desire to the work of thou will have a desire to the work of thy hands. For now numberest my steps, Thou numberest my steps, and now thou watchest over my sin. My transgression is sealed up in a bag, and thou sewest up my iniquity. And surely the mountains falling cometh to naught, and the rock is removed out of his place. The waters wear the stones. Thou washest away the things which grow out of the dust of the earth, and thou destroyest the hope of man. Thou prevailest forever against him, and he passeth. Thou changest his countenance and sendest him away. His sons come to honor, and he knoweth it not, and they are brought low, but he perceiveth it not of them. But his flesh upon him shall have pain, and his soul within him shall mourn. Chapter 15. Then answered Eliphaz the Temanite, should a wise man utter vain knowledge and fill his belly with the east wind? Should he reason with unprofitable talk and with speeches wherewith he can do no good? Yea, thou carest off fear, castest off fear, and restrained prayer before God. Restrainest prayer before God. For thy mouth uttereth thine iniquity, and thou choosest the tongue of the crafty. Thine own mouth condemneth thee, and not I, yea, thy own lips testify against thee. Art thou not the first man that was born, or was thou made before art thou the first man that was born, or was thou made before the hills? Hast thou heard the secret of God, and dost thou restrain wisdom to thyself? What knowest thou that we know not? What understandest thou which is not in us? With us are both the graveyard and the very aged men, much elder than my father. Are the consolations of God small with thee? Is there any secret thing with thee? Why doth thine heart carry thee away, and what do thy eyes wink at? That thou turnest up thy spirit against God, and lettest such words go out of thy mouth. What is man that he should be clean, and that which is born of a woman that he should be righteous? Behold, he putteth no trust in his saints. Yea, the heavens are not clean in his sight. How much more abominable and filthy is man, which drinketh iniquity like water? I will show thee hear me, and that which I have seen will I declare, which wise men have told from their fathers and have not heed. Unto whom alone the earth was given, and no stranger passed among them. The wicked man travaileth with pain and all his days, and the number of years is hidden to the oppressor. A dreadful sound is in his ears. In prosperity the destroyer shall come upon him. He believeth not that he shall return out of darkness, and he is waited for of the sword. He wandereth abroad for bread, saying, where is it? If he knoweth that the day of darkness is ready at his hand. Trouble and anguish shall make him afraid. They shall prevail against him as a king ready to the battle. For he stretched out his hand against God, and strengtheneth himself against the Almighty. He runneth upon him, even on his neck, upon the thick bosses of his bucklers. Because he covereth his face with his fatness, and maketh collops of fat on his flanks. And he dwelleth in desolate cities and in houses, which no man inhabiteth, which are ready to become heaps. He shall not be rich, neither shall his substance continue, neither shall he prolong the perfection thereof upon the earth. He shall not depart out of darkness. The flame shall dry up his branches, and by the breath of his mouth shall he go away. Let not him that is deceived trust in vanity, for vanity shall be his recompense. And it shall be accomplished before his time, and his branch shall not be green. He shall shake off his unripe grape as the vine, and shall cast off his flower as the olive. For the congregation of hypocrites shall be desolate, and the fire shall consume the tabernacles of bribery. They conceive mischief, and bring forth vanity. Their belly prepared deceit. Chapter 16. I have heard many such things. Miserable comforters are ye all. Shall vain words have an end? Or what emboldeneth thee that thou answerest? I also could speak as ye do if your soul were in my soul's stead. I could heap up words against you and shake my head at you. But I will strengthen you with my mouth, and the moving of my lips should assuage your grief. Though I speak, my grief is not assuaged, and though I forbear, what am I eased? But now he hath made me weary, that thou hast made desolate all my company. And thou hast filled me with wrinkles, which is a witness against me. And my leanness rising up in me beareth witness to my face. He teareth me in his wrath, who hated me, and gnasheth upon me with his teeth. Mine enemy shall sharpeneth his eyes upon me, They have gaped upon me with their mouth. They have smitten me upon the cheek reproachfully. They have gathered themselves together against me. God had delivered me to the ungodly and turned me over into the hands of the wicked. I was at ease, but he hath broken me asunder. He hath also taken me by neck and shaken me to pieces and set me up for his mark. His archers compass me round about. He cleaveth my reins asunder, and doth not spare. He poureth out my gall upon the ground. He breaketh me with breach upon breach. He runneth upon me like a giant. I have sewed sackcloth upon my skin, and defiled my own in the dust. My face is full with weeping, and on my eyelids is the shadow of death. Not for any injustice in my hands. Also my prayer is sure. O earth, cover not down my blood, and let my cry have no place. Also now, behold, my witness is in heaven, and my record is on high. My friends scorn me, but my eye poureth out tears unto God. Oh, that one might plead for a man with God, as a man pleadeth for his neighbor. When a few years are come, then shall I go the way whence I shall not return. Chapter 17. My breath is corrupt, my days are extinct, the graves are ready for me. Are there not mockers with me? And doth not my eye continue in their provocation? Lay down now, put me in a surety with thee. Who is he that will strike hands with me? For thou hast hid their heart from understanding. Therefore shalt thou not exalt them. He that speaketh flattery to his friends, even the eyes of his children shall fail. He hath made me also a byword of the people, and aforetime which I was a tabret. My eye also is dim by reason of sorrow. All my members are as a shadow. Upright men shall be astonished at this, and innocent shall stir up himself against the hypocrite. The righteous also shall hold on his way, and he that hath clean hands shall be stronger and stronger. But as for you all, do ye return and come now? For I cannot find one wise man among you. My days are past, my purposes are broken off, even the thoughts of my heart. They change the night into day. The light is short because of darkness. If I wait, the grave is mine, my house. I have my bed in the darkness. I have said to corruption, thou art my father, to the one, thou art my mother and my sister. And where is now my hope? And for my hope, who shall see it? We shall go down together to the bars of the pit, when our rest together is in the dust. Chapter 18. How long will it be ere ye make an end of words? Then answered Bildad the Shuhite and said, how long will it be ere ye make an end of words? Mark, and afterward we will speak. Wherefore are we counted as beasts and reputed vile in your sight? He teareth himself in his anger. Shall the earth be forsaken for thee? And shall the rock be removed out of his place? Yea, the light of the wicked shall be put out, and the spark of his fire shall not shine. The light shall be dark in his tabernacle, and his candle shall be put out with him. The steps of his strength shall be straightened, and his own counsel shall cast him down. For he is cast into a net by his own feet, and walketh upon a snare. The gin shall take him by the heel, and the robber shall prevail against him. The snare is laid for him in the ground, and a trap for him in the way. Terror shall make him afraid on every side, and shall drive him to his feet. His strength shall be hunger beaten, and destruction shall be ready at his side. It shall devour the strength of his skin. Even the firstborn of death shall devour his strength. His confidence shall be rooted out of this tabernacle, and it shall bring him to the king of terrors. It shall dwell in his tabernacle, because it is none of his. Brimstone shall be scattered upon his habitation. His root shall be dried up beneath, and above shall his branch be cut off. His remembrance shall perish from the earth, and will have no name in the streets. He shall be driven from light into darkness, and chased out of the world. He shall neither have a son or nephew among his people, nor any remaining in his dwellings. They that come after him shall be astonished at his day, as they that went before they are frightened. Such are the dwellings of the wicked, and this is the place of him that knoweth not God. Chapter 19. Then Job answered and said, how long will ye vex my soul and break me in pieces with words? These 10 times have ye reproached me. Ye are not ashamed that ye make yourselves strange to me. And be it indeed that I have erred, my error remaineth with myself. If indeed ye will magnify yourselves against me, and plead against me my reproach, Know not, know now that God hath overthrown me and has compassed me with his net. Behold, I cry out of wrong, but I am not heard. I cry aloud, but there is no judgment. He hath fenced up my way, that I cannot pass, and he hath set darkness in my path. He hath stripped me of my glory, and taken the crown from my head. He hath destroyed me on every side, and I am gone, and my hope hath he removed like a tree. He hath also kindled his wrath against me, and he counted me unto him as one of his enemies. His troops come together and raise up their way against me, and encamp round about my tabernacle. He hath put my brethren far from me, and my acquaintance are verily estranged from me. My kinsfolk have failed, and my familiar friends have forgotten me. They that dwell in my house and my mates count me for a stranger. I am an alien in their sight. I called my servant, and he gave me no answer. I entreated him with my soul, with my mouth. My breath is strange to my wife, though I entreated for the children's sake of my own body. Yea, young children despise me, and I arose, and they spake against me. All my inward friends abhorred me, and they whom I loved are turned against me. My bone cleaveth to my skin, and my flesh, and I am escaped with the skin of my teeth. Have pity upon me, have pity upon me, O ye my friends, for the hand of God hath touched me. Why do ye persecute me as God, and are not satisfied with my flesh? Oh, that the words were now written. Oh, that my words were now written. Oh, that they were printed in a book, that they were graven with iron pen and laid in the rock of in the rock forever. For I know that my reader liveth, I know that my Redeemer liveth, and that he shall stand at the latter day upon the earth. And though after my skin worms destroy this body, yet in my flesh shall I see God, whom I shall see for myself, and my eyes shall behold, and not another, though my reins be consumed within me. But he should say, why persecute we him, seeing the root of the matter is found in me? But ye of the sword, be ye afraid of the sword, for wrath bringeth the punishment of the sword, that ye may know that there is a judgment. Chapter 20. Then answered Zophar the Naamathite and said, therefore do my thoughts cause me to answer, and for this I make haste. I have heard the check of my reproach, and the spirit of my understanding causeth me to answer. Knowest thou not of the of knowest not now this of old, since man was placed upon the earth, that the triumphing of the wicked is short, and the joy of the hypocrite is but for a moment? Though his excellency mount up to the heavens, and his head reach unto the clouds, yet he shall perish forever like his own dung. They which have seen him shall say, where is he? He shall fly away as a dream and shall not be found. Yea, he shall be chased away as a vision of the night. They also which saw him all him no more. Neither shall this place. The eye also which saw him shall see him no more. Neither shall his place be any more be shall his place any more behold him. His children shall seek to please the poor, and his hands shall restore their goods. His bones are full of the sin of his youth, which shall lie down with him in the dust. Though wickedness be sweet in his mouth, though he hide it under his tongue, though he spear it and forsake it not, but keep it still within his mouth. Yet his meat is in his bowels, is turned. It is the gall of asps within him. He hath swallowed down riches, and he shall vomit them up again. God shall cast them out of his belly. He shall suck the poison of asps, the viper's tongue shall slay him. He shall not see the rivers, the bloods, the brooks of honey and butter. That which he labored for shall he restore, and shall not swallow it down. According to his substance shall the restitution be, and he shall not rejoice therein. Because he has operated and forsaken the poor, because he hath violently taken away my house, which he builded not, surely shall feel the quietness in his belly. He shall not save of that which he desired. There shall none of his meat be left. Therefore shall no man look for his good. In the fullness of his sufficiency, he shall be in straits. Every hand of the wicked shall come upon him. When he is about to fill his belly, God shall cast the fury of his wrath upon him, and shall rain it upon him while he is eating. He shall flee from the iron weapon, and the bow of steel shall strike him through. It is drawn and cometh out of it is drawn, and cometh out of the body. The glittering sword cometh out of his God, terrors are upon him. All darkness shall be hid in his secret places. A fire not blown shall consume him. It shall go ill with him that is left in his tabernacle. The heaven shall reveal his iniquity, and the earth shall rise up against him. The increase of his house shall depart, and his good shall flow away in the day of his wrath. This is the this is the portion of a wicked man from God, and the heritage appointed unto him by God. Job chapter 21. But Job answered and said, hear diligently my speech, and let this be your consolations. Suffer me that I may speak, and after that I have spoken, mock on. As for me, is my complaint to man? And if it were so, why should not my spirit be troubled? Mark me and be astonished, and lay your hand upon your mouth. Even when I remember, I am afraid and trembling, taketh oath upon my flesh. Wherefore do ye the wicked live and become old, yea, are mighty in power? Their seed is established in their sight, with them and their offspring before their eyes. Their houses are safe from fear, neither is the rod of God upon them. Their bull gendereth and faileth not, their cow calveth and casteth not her calf. They send for their little ones like a flock, and their children dance. They take the timbrel and harp and rejoice around the sound of the organ. They spend their days in wealth, and in a moment go down to the grave. Therefore they say unto God, depart from us, for we desire not the knowledge of thy ways. What is the Almighty that we should serve him? And what profit should we have if we pray unto him? Lo, their good is not in their hand. The counsel of the wicked is far from me. How oft is the candle of the wicked put out? And how oft cometh their destruction upon them? God distributed sorrows in his anger. They are as the stubble before the wind, and as chaff that the storm carrieth away. God layeth up his iniquity for his children. He rewardeth him, and he shall know it. His eyes shall see his destruction, and he shall drink of the wrath of the Almighty. For what pleasure hath he in his house after him, when the number of his months is cut off in the midst? Shall any teach God knowledge, seeing he judgeth those that are high? One dieth in his full strength, and being wholly at ease and quiet. His breasts are full of milk, and his bones are moistened with marrow. And another dieth in the bitterness of his soul, and never eateth with pleasure. They shall lie down and alike in the dust, and worms shall cover them. Behold, I know your thoughts and the devices which ye wrongfully imagined against me. For ye say, where is the house of the prince, and where are the dwelling place of the wicked? Have ye not asked them that go by the way, and do ye not know their tokens? That which is wicked is reserved to the day of destruction. They shall be brought forth in the day of wrath. Shall declare his way to his face, and shall repay him what he hath done. Ye shall be brought to the grave, and shall remain in the tomb. The odds of the valley shall be sweet unto him. The clods of the valley shall be sweet unto him, and every man shall draw after him, as they are innumerable before him. How then comfort ye me in vain, seeing your answers remaineth falsehood? Chapter 22. Then Eliphaz the Temanite answered, can a man be profitable unto God, as he that is wise may be profitable unto himself? Is it any pleasure to the Almighty that thou art righteous, or is it gain to him that thou makest thy ways perfect? Will he reprove thee for the fear of thee? Will he enter into judgment? Is not thy wickedness great, and thine iniquities infinite? For thou hast taken the pledge from thy brother for naught, and stripped the naked of their clothing. Thou hast not given water to the weary to drink, and thou hast withheld my bread from the hungry. But as for the mighty man, he had earth, and honorable man dwelt in. Thou hast sent widows away empty, and the arms of the fatherless have been broken. Therefore snares are round about thee, and sudden fear troubleth thee, or darkness that thou cannot see, an abundance of waters cover thee. Is not God in the height of heaven, and behold the height of the stars, how high they are? And thou sayest, how doth God know? Can he judge through the dark cloud? The clouds are a covering to him, that he seeth not, and he walketh in the circuit of heaven. As thou mark the old way, which the wicked men have trodden, which were cut down out of time, whose foundation was overflown with a flood, which said unto God, Depart from us, and what can the Almighty do for them? Yet he filled their house with good things, but the counsel of the wicked is far from me. The righteous see it and are glad, and the innocent laugh them to scorn. Whereas our substance is not cut down, but remaineth of him from the fire that consumeth. Acquaint now thyself with him and be at peace. Therefore, good shall come unto thee. Receive, I pray thee, the law from his out, and lay up his words in thine heart. If thou return to the Almighty, thou shalt be built up, and thou shalt put away the iniquity far from the tabernacles. Then shalt thou lay up gold as dust, the gold of Ophir as the stones of the brooks. Yea, the Almighty shall be thy defense, and thou shalt have plenty of silver. For then shalt thou have thy delight in the Almighty, and shalt lift up thy face to God. Thou shalt also decree a thing, and it shall be established unto thee, and the light shall shine upon thy ways. When men are cast down, then shalt thou say, There is lifting up, and he shall save the humble person. He shall deliver the island of the innocent, and it is still delivered, by the pureness of thine hand. Chapter 23. Then Job answered and said, Even today is my complaint bitter. My stroke is heavier than my groaning. Oh, that I knew where I might find him, that I might come even to his seat. I would order my cause before him and fill all my mouth with arguments. I would know that I knew the truth which he will possess. He would answer me and understand what they would say to me. Will he plead against me with his great power? No, but would he put strength in me? He would put strength in me. Then the righteous might dispute. There the righteous might dispute with him. Or so should I be delivered forever from my nudge. Behold, I go forward, but he is not there, and backward, and I cannot perceive him. On the left hand where he doth walk, but I cannot behold him. He hideth himself on the right hand, that I cannot see him. But he knoweth the way which I take. When he hath tried me, I shall come forth as gold. My foot has held his steps, his ways have I kept and not declined. Neither have I gone back from the commandment of his lips. I have esteemed the words of his mouth more than my necessary food. But he is in no end, he is in one mind, and who can turn him? What his soul desireth, even that he doeth. For he performeth the thing that is appointed for me, and many short things that are with him. Therefore am I troubled at his presence. When I consider, I am afraid of him. For God maketh my life and the life of the Almighty, and the Almighty troubleth me, because I was not cut off before the darkness, neither hath he covered the darkness from my face. Chapter 24. Why, seeing times are not hidden from the Almighty, do they that know him not see his days? Some remove the landmarks, and they violently take away the flocks and feed thereof. They drive away the ass of the fathers, and they take the widow's ox for a pledge. They turn the needy out of the way, and the poor of the earth hide themselves together. Behold, as wide as his went passing by. Behold, as the wild asses in the desert, go they forth to their work. The rising betimes for a prey. The wilderness, yea, food for them and for their children. They reap everyone his corn in the field, and they gather the vintage of the wicked. They cause the naked to lodge without clothing, that they have no wrong covering the cloud. They are with the showers of the mountains, and embrace the rock for a want of shelter. They pluck the fatherless from the breast, and take a pledge of the poor. They cause him to go naked without clothing, that they take away the sheaf from his hunger. They reap everyone his own corn in his own field, and they gather vintage of the wicked. They cause the naked to lodge without clothing, and they have no covering in the cold. They are wet with the showers of the mountains and embrace the rock for want of a shelter. They pluck the fatherless from the breast and take a pledge of the poor. They cause him to go naked without clothing, and they take away the sheaf from the hungry, which make oil within our walls, and they tread their winepress and suffer thirst. Men groan from out of the city, and the sound of the word cries out to God. The mother, the mother rising with the light killeth the poor and needy, and in the night is as a thief. The eyes of also of the adulterer waited for the twilight, saying, no eye shall see me, and disguiseth his face. In the dark they did through houses which they had marked for themselves. In the daytime they know not the light. For, for the morning to them is to them even as the shadow of death. If no one knew them, they are in the terrors of the shadow of death. He is swift as the waters. Their portion is cursed in the earth. He beholdeth not the way of the vineyard. Drought and it consumes no waters. So doth the grave and those which have sinned. The womb shall forget him, the one shall feed sweetly on him. He shall be no more remembered, and the wickedness shall be broken a tree, as a tree. He evil entreated the barren that beareth not, and doth not good to the widow. He draweth also the mighty with his power, and raiseth up, and no man is sure of life. Though it be given him in safety, whereon he resteth, yet his eyes are upon their ways. They are exalted for a little while, but they are not gone, and brought low. They are taken out of the way as all other, and cut off as the tops of the ears of corn. And if it be so now, who will make me a liar and make my speech? Chapter 25. They exalted for a little while, but they are gone brought low. They are taken out of the world as the other, cut off as the tops of the ear of the corn. And if it be so now, who will make me a liar and make my speech nothing but? Chapter 25. Then answered Bildad the Shuhite and said, dominion and fear are with him. He maketh peace in his high places. Is there any number of his armies upon whom doth not his light arise? How then can man be justified with God? Or can a man, or how can he be clean that is born of a woman? Behold, even to the moon, and it shineth not. Yea, the stars are not pure in his sight. How much less man that is a worm, and the Son of Man, which is a worm? Chapter 26. Chapter 26. But Job answered and said, how hast thou helped him that is without power? How savest thou the arm that hath no strength? How hast thou counseled him that had no wisdom? And how hast thou plentifully declared this thing? To whom hast thou uttered words, and whose spirit came from thee? Dead things are formed from under waters, and the inhabitants thereof. Hell is naked before him, and destruction hath no covering. Stretched out the north over the empty place, and yes, yes. He binded up the waters with his thick clouds, and the clouds is not rent under them. He yielded back the face of his throne, and spreadeth his cloud upon it. He hath compassed the waters with bounds, until the day and night come to an end. The pillars of heaven tremble and are astonished at his reproof. He divided the sea with his power, and by his understanding he smited through the proud. By his spirit he hath garnished the heavens, and his hand hath formed the crooked serpents. Lo, these are parts of his ways, but how a little portion is heard of him. But the thunder of his power, who can understand? Chapter 27. Moreover, Job continued his parable and said, as God liveth, who hath taken away my judgment, and the Almighty who hath vexed my soul. All the while my breath is in me, and the Spirit of God is in my nostrils. My lips shall not speak wickedness, nor my tongue utter deceit. God forbid that I should justify you till I die. I will not remove my integrity from me. My righteousness I hold fast and will not let it go. My heart shall not reproach me so long as I live. Let my enemy be as the wicked, and he that riseth up against me as the unrighteous. For what is the hope of the hypocrite, though he hath gained, when God taketh away his soul? Will God hear his cry when trouble come upon him? Will he not delight himself in the Almighty? Will he always call upon God? I will teach you by the hand of God that which is with the Almighty will I not conceal. Behold, all ye yourselves have seen it. Then why then are ye thus altogether vain? This is the portion of a wicked man with God, and the heritage of oppressors, which they shall receive of the Almighty. If his children be multiplied, it is for the sword, and his offering shall not be satisfied with bread. Those that remain of him shall be buried in death, and his widows shall not weep. Though he heap on the silver and dust, weep under silver and dust. Sorry. If his children be multiplied for the sword, his offspring shall not be satisfied with bread. Those that remain of him shall be buried in death, and his widows shall not weep. Though he heap up silver as the dust, and prepare raiment as the clay, he may prepare it, but the just shall put it on, and the innocent shall divide the silver. He buildeth his house up as a moth, and as a booth that the keeper maketh. The rich man shall lie down, but he shall not be gathered. He openeth his eyes, and he is not. Terrors take hold of him as a waitress. The tempest let him away in the night. The east wind carrieth him, and he is departed, and a storm hurleth him out of his place. For God shall cast upon him, and not spare. He would fain flee out of his hand. Men shall clap their hands at him, and shall hiss him out of his place. Chapter 28. Surely there is a vein for the silver and a place for gold where they refine it. Iron is taken out of the earth and brass is molten out of the stone. He settled an end to darkness and sorted out all perfection. The stones of darkness and the shadow of the flood breaketh forth out of the inhabitants, even the waters forgotten of the foot. They are dried up, they are gone away from men. As for the earth, out of it cometh bread, and under it is turned up as it were fire. The stones of it are the place of sapphires, and it hath dust of gold. There is a path which no fowl knoweth, which the vulture's eye hath not seen. The lion's whelps have not trodden it, nor the fierce lion passed by it. He putteth forth his hand upon the rock, and overturned the mountains by his roots. He cutteth out rivers from among the rocks, and his eye seeth every precious thing. He bindeth the floods from overflowing, and the thing is hid, bringeth he forth. He that is thing that is hid, bringeth he forth to light. But where shall wisdom be found? And where is the place of understanding? Man knoweth not the price thereof, neither is it found in the land of the living. The depth saith, it is not in me, and the sea saith, it is not with me. It cannot be gotten gold for gold, neither shall silver be weighed for the price thereof. It cannot be valued with the gold of Ophir, with the precious onyx or the sapphire. The gold and the crystal cannot equal it, and the exchange of it shall not be for jewels or fine gold. No mention shall be made of the coral or of pearls, for the price of wisdom is above rubies. The topaz of Ethiopia shall not equal it, neither shall it be valued with pure gold. When then cometh wisdom, and where is the place of understanding? See, it is hid from the eyes of all living, and kept close from the fowls of the air. Destruction and death say, we have heard the fame thereof with our ears. God understandeth the way thereof, and he knoweth the place thereof. For he looketh to the ends of the earth, and seeth under the whole heaven, to make the weight of the winds, and weigheth the waters by mail. And when he made a decree for the rain, and a way for the lightning of the thunder, then did he see it and declare it, and prepared it, yea, and searched it out. And unto man he said, behold, the fear of the Lord, that is wisdom, and to depart from evil is understanding. Moreover, Job continued his parable and said, oh, that I were as, chapter 29. Moreover, Job continued his parable and said, oh, that I were as in months past, as in the days when God preserved me, when his candle shined upon my head, and when by his light I walked through darkness, as I was in the days of my youth, when the secret score of God was upon me, upon my tabernacle. And when the Almighty was here with me and my children were about me, when I washed my steps with butter, and the rock poured me out rivers of oil, when I went out to the gate throughout the city, when I prepared my heart in, in the street. The young men saw me and hid themselves. The aged one rose and stood up. The princes refrained talking and laid their hand on their mouth. The nobles held their peace and their tongue cleaved to the roof of their mouth. When the ear heard me, then it blessed me, and I was a father to the poor, and the cause which I knew not I searched out. And I break the jaws of the wicked and pluck the spoil which I knew not I searched out. And I break the jaws of the wicked and pluck the spoil out of his teeth. Then I said, I shall die in my nest, I shall multiply my days as the end. My root was spread out by the waters, and the dew lay all night upon my branch. My glory was fresh in me, and my bow was renewed in my hand. Unto me men gave ear, and waited, and kept silence at my counsel. After my words they spake not again, and my speech dropped upon them. And they waited for me as for the rain, and they opened their mouth wide for as for the latter rain. If I laughed on them, they believed it not. And the light of my countenance they cast not down. I chose out of their way and sat chief, and dwelt as a king in the army, as one that comforted the mourners. Chapter 30. But now they that are younger than I have me in derision, whose fathers I would have disdained to have set with the dogs of my flock. Yea, whereto might the strength of their hands profit me, in whom old age was perished. For want and for famine they were solitary, fleeting into the wilderness in the former desolate and waste, who cut up mallows by the bushes and juniper roots for their meat. They were driven forth from among men. They cried out after them after grief, to dwell in the depths of the rock. Among the bushes by the braid, under the nettles, they gathered together. Children of fools, yea, the children of beast men. They were viler than the earth, and now I am theirs. Am I their song? Yea, I am their byword. They abhor me, they flee far from me, and spare not to spit in my face. Because he had loosed my cord and afflicted me, they have also let loose the bridle before me. Upon my right hand rise the youth, they push away my feet, and they raise up against me the ways of their destruction. They mar my path, and they set forward my calamity. They have no helper. They came upon me as a wide breaking of waters. In the desolation, they rolled up themselves upon me. Terrors are turned upon me. They pursue my soul as the wind, and my welfare passed away as a cloud. And now my soul is poured out upon me. The days of affliction have taken hold upon me. My bones are pierced in me in the night season, and my sinews take no rest. By the great force of my diseases, my garment changed. He binded me about as the color of my coat. He hath cast me into the mire, and I am become like the dust and ashes. I cry unto thee, and thou dost not hear me. I stand up, and thou regardest me not. Thou art become cruel to me with thy strong hand. Thou hast opposed thyself against me. Thou lifted me up to the wind. And thou causest me to ride upon it, and dissolvest my substance. For I know that thou wilt bring me to death, and to the house appointed for all living. Howbeit, he will not stretch out his hand to the grave, though they cry in his destruction. Did I not weep over for him that was made of trouble? Was not my soul grieved for the poor? When I looked for good, then evil came. When I looked for good, evil came unto me. And when I waited for light, there came darkness. My bowels boiled and rested not. The days of affliction prevented me. I went mourning without the sun. I stood up, I cried in the congregation. I am a brother to dragons and a companion to owls. My skin is black upon me, and my bones are turned with heat. My harp also is turned to mourning, and my organ into the voice of them that weep. Chapter 31. I made a covenant with my eyes. Why then should I think upon a maid? For what portion of God is there from above, and what inheritance of the Almighty from high? Is not destruction to the wicked and strange punishment to the workers of iniquity? Does he not see my ways and count all my steps? If I have walked with vanity, if my foot hath hasted to deceive, let me be weighed in an even balance, that God may know my integrity. If my step had turned out of the way, and my heart had walked after my eyes, if anything both hath cleaved to my hands, Then let me sow, and let another eat. Yea, let my offspring be rooted out. If my heart be deceived by a woman, or if I have laid wait at my neighbor's door, then let my wife grind unto another, and let others bow down upon her. For this is an heinous crime, yea, it is an iniquity to be punished by the judges. For it is a fire that consumeth to destruction, and would root out all mine increase. If I despise the cause of my manservant or my maidservant when they contended me, what then shall I do when God riseth up, and when he visiteth? What shall I answer him? Did not he that made me in the womb make him, and does not the old fashion us in the womb? If I have withheld the poor from their desire, and have caused the eyes of the widow to fail, thou hast even my morsel alone, and the fatherless had not eaten thereof. If I have seen any perish for want of clothing, or any poor for covering, if his loins have not blessed me, and if he were not warned of the with the fleece of my sheep, if I have lifted up my hand against the fatherless when I saw my help in the gates, then let my arm fall from my shoulder blade, and my arm be broken from the bone. The destruction from God was a terror to me, and by reason of his highness I could not endure. If I have made gold my hope, and have said to find gold, thou art my confidence. I rejoiced because my wealth was great, and because my hand had gotten much. If I beheld the sun when it shined, or the moon walking in brightness, and my heart had been secretly enticed, or my mouth had kissed my hand. This also were an iniquity to be punished by the judge, for I should have denied the God that is above. If I rejoiced at the destruction of him that hated me, or lifted up my eyes when evil found him, neither have I suffered my mouth to sin by wishing a curse to his soul. If the men of my tabernacle said not, oh, that we had of his flesh, we cannot be satisfied. The stranger did not lodge in the streets, but I opened my doors to the traveler. If I covered my transgressions as Adam by hiding my iniquity in my bosom, did I fear a great multitude, or the contempt of families terrify me that I kept silence and went not out of the door? Oh, that one would hear me. Behold, my desire is that the Almighty would answer me, and that my adversary had written a book. Surely I will take it upon my shoulder and bind it as a crown to me. I will declare unto him the number of my steps. As a prince would I go near unto him. If my land cry against me, or that furrows likewise thereof complain, if I have eaten the fruit thereof without money, or have caused the owners thereof to lose their life, let thistles grow instead of wheat, and the cockle instead of barley. The words of Job are ended. Chapter 32. So these three men ceased to answer Job, because he was righteous in his own eyes. Then was kindled the wrath of Elihu the son of Barachel, the Buzite of the kindred of Ram. Against Job was his wrath kindled, because he justified himself. Because he justified himself rather than God. Also, against his three friends that his wrath was kindled, because they had found no answer, and yet they condemned Job. Now Elihu waited till Job had spoken, because they were elder than he. When Elihu saw that there was no answer in the mouth of these three men, then his wrath was kindled. And Elihu, the son of Barachel the Buzite, answered and said, I am young, and ye are very old. Wherefore I was afraid, and does not show you my opinion. I said, days should speak, and multitude of years should teach wisdom. But there is a spirit in man, and the inspiration of the Almighty giveth him understanding. Great men are not always wise, neither do the aged understand judgment. Therefore I said, hearken to me. I also will show my opinion. Behold, I waited for your words. I gave ear to your reasons, while he searched out what to say. Yea, I attended unto you, and behold, there was none of you that convinced Job that his words are true. Lest he should say, we have found out wisdom. God thrusted him down, not man. Now he had not directed his words against me, neither will I answer him with your speeches. They were amazed. They answered to no more. They left off speaking. When I had waited, for they spake not, but stood still and answered no more. I said, I will answer also my part. I will also show my portion. For I am full of matter, and the spirit within me constrained me. Because my belly is as wine which hath not vent, it is ready to burst like new bottles. I will speak that I may be refreshed. I will open my lips and answer. Let me not, I pray you, accept any man's persons, Neither let me give flattering titles unto man, for I know not to give flattering titles. In so doing, my Maker would soon take me away. Chapter 33. Wherefore, Job, I pray thee, hear my speeches, and hearken to all my words. Behold, now I have opened my mouth, my tongue hath spoken in my mouth. My word shall be of uprightness of my heart, and my lips shall utter knowledge clearly. The Spirit of God hath made me, and the breath of the Almighty hath given me life. If thou can answer me, set thy words in order before me. Stand up. Behold, I am according to thy wish in God's stead. I have also am formed out of this day. Behold, Behold, I am according to thy wish in God's stead. I am also formed out of the clay. Behold, my terror shall not make thee afraid, neither shall my hand be heavy upon thee. Surely thou hast spoken in my hearing. I have heard the voice of thy word, saying, I am clean without transgression. I am innocent, neither is there iniquity in me. Behold, he findeth occasions against me, counted me worthy for his enemy. Behold, he founded occasions against me, counted me for his enemies. He put my feet in the stocks. He marketh all my paths. Behold, in this thou art just. I will answer thee that God is greater than man. Why dost thou strive against him? For he giveth not account of any of his matters. For God speaketh once, yea twice, yet man perceiveth it not. In a dream, in a vision of the night, when deep sleep falleth upon men, he slumberings upon the bed. Then he openeth the ears of men and sealeth their instruction, that he may withdraw man from his purpose and hide pride of man. He speaketh. In a dream, in a vision of the night, when deep sleep falleth upon men, he slumberings upon the bed. Then he opened the ears of men and sealeth their instruction, that he may withdraw man from his purpose and hide pride from man. He keepeth back his soul from the pit and his life from perishing by the sword. He is chastened also with pain upon his bed, and the multitude of his bones with strong pain, so that his life abhorreth bread, and his soul dainty meat. His flesh is consumed. It cannot be seen. Flesh is consumed. So that his life abhorred bread, and his soul dainty. His flesh consumed away that it cannot be seen, and his bones that were not seen stick out. Yea, his soul draweth near unto the grave, and his life to the destroyer. As if there be a messenger with him, an interpreter, one among 1,000, to show unto man his uprightness. Then he is gracious unto him and said, deliver him from the going down of the pit. I have found a ransom. Shall pray unto God, and he will be favorable. Yet his soul draweth near unto the grave, and his life to the destroyers. If there be a messenger with him, an interpreter, and one among 1,000, to show unto man his uprightness, then is gracious unto him and said, deliver him from going down to the pit. I have found a ransom. His flesh will be fresher than a child's, and shall return to the days of his youth. He shall pray unto God, and it will be favorable unto him, and he shall see his face with joy, for he will render unto man his righteousness. He looketh upon men, if any say, I have sinned and perverted that which was right, and it profited me not. He will deliver his soul from going into the pit, and his life shall see light. Lo, all these things worketh God oftentimes with man, to bring back his soul from the pit, to be enlightened with the light of the living. Mark well, O Job, hearken unto me, hold thy peace, and I will speak. If thou hast anything to say, answer me, for I desire. If thou hast anything to say, answer me, speak, for I desire to justify thee. If not, hearken unto me, hold thy peace, and I shall teach thee wisdom. Chapter 34. Furthermore, Elihu answered and said, hear my words, O ye wise men, and give ear unto me, ye that have knowledge. For the ear trieth the words, and as the words trieth not. Chapter 34. Furthermore, Elihu said, hear my words, O ye wise men, give unto me, ye that have knowledge. For The ear trieth words as the mouth trieth meat. Let us choose us judgment. Let us know among ourselves what is good. For Job had said, I am righteous, and God had taken away my judgment. Shall I lie against my right? My wound is incurable without transgression. What man is like Job, who drinketh up scorning like water, which goeth in the company of the workers of iniquity, and walketh with wicked men? For he had said, it profited a man nothing that he should delight himself with God. Therefore, hearken unto me. Amen. But man is like Job, who drinketh of scorning like water, which goeth into the company of the workers of iniquity, and walketh with wicked men. For he had said, it profited man nothing that he should delight himself in God. Therefore, hearken unto me, ye men of understanding. Far be it from God that he should do wickedness, and from the Almighty that he should commit iniquity. For the work of a man shall he render unto him, and cause every man to find according to his ways. Yea, surely God will not do wickedly, neither will the Almighty pervert judgment. Who hath given him a charge over the earth, and who hath disposed the whole world? If he set his heart upon man, if he gather himself with spirit and his breath, all the flesh shall perish together, and man shall turn again to the dust. If now, even now, thou hast understanding, hear this, hearken to the voice of my word, shall even he that hath right govern, and whom thou condemnest him, that is not most just. How much less to him that accepted not the persons of princes, nor regarded the rich more than the poor, for they are all the work of his hands. In a moment shall they die, and the people shall be troubled at midnight and pass away, and the mighty shall be taken away without end, without hand. For his eyes are upon the ways of man, and he seeth all his goings. There is no darkness nor shadow of death, where the workers of iniquity may hide themselves. For he will not lay charge upon man than right, that he should enter into judgment with God. He shall break in pieces mighty men without number, and set others in their stead. Therefore he knoweth their thoughts, and he overturneth them in the he shall break in pieces the mighty men without number, and set others in their stead. Therefore he knoweth their works, and he overturned them in the night, and they are destroyed. He struck them as wicked men in open sight of others, because they turned back from him and would not consider any of his ways, so that they caused the cry of the poor to come unto him, and he heard the cry of the afflicted. When he giveth quietness, who then can make trouble? And when he hideth his face, who then can behold him? Whether it be done against a nation or against a man only, that the hypocrite reign not, lest the people be ensnared. Surely it is meet to be said unto God, I have borne chastisement, I will not offend any. That which I see not, teach thou me. If I have done iniquity, I will do no more. Should it be according to thy mind, and he will recompense it, whether thou refuse or whether thou choose, and not I. Therefore speak what thou knowest. Let the men of understanding tell me, and let a wise man hearken unto me. Job had spoken without knowledge, and his words were without wisdom. My desire is that Job may be tried unto the end because of his answers for wicked men. For he added rebellion to his sin. He clapped his hands among the nations. For he added rebellion to his sin and clapped his hands and multiplied his words against God. Chapter 35. Elihu spoke, moreover, and said, thinkest thou this to be right? And thou saidest, my righteousness is more than God's. For thou saidst, what advantage will it be unto thee, and what shall it profit shall I have if I be cleansed of my sin, from my sin? I will answer thee and thy companions with thee. Look unto the heavens and see. And if thou sinnest, what dost thou against him? If thy old transgression will multiply. I will answer thee, and my companions with thee. Look to the heavens and see. Behold, the cloud is higher than thou. If thou sinnest, what dost thou against him? Or if thy transgressions be multiplied, what dost thou unto him? If thou be righteous, what givest thou to him? And what receiveth he of thine hand? Thy wickedness may hurt a man as thou art, and thy righteousness may profit the Son of Man. By reason of the multitude of oppressions, they make the oppressed to cry. They cry out by reason of them. By But none saith, where is God my maker, who giveth songs in the night? Who teacheth us more than the beasts of the earth, and maketh us wiser than the fowls of heaven? Then they cry, but none giveth answer because of the pride of evil men. Surely God will not hear vanity, neither will the Almighty regard it. Although, but now, because it is not so, he had visited in his anger. Yes, he knoweth it is not great in extremity. Therefore doth Job open his mouth in vain. He multiplied words without knowledge. Chapter 36. Elihu also proceeded and said, suffer me a little, and I will show thee that I have yet to speak on God's behalf. I will fetch my knowledge from afar. I will fetch. Chapter 36. Elihu also proceeded and said, suffer me a little, and I will show thee that I have yet to speak on God's behalf. I will fetch my knowledge from afar. I will ascribe my righteousness to my Maker. For truly my word shall not be false. He that is perfect in knowledge is with thee. Behold, God is mighty, and he despiseth not any. He is mighty in strength and wisdom. He preserveth not the life of the wicked, but giveth right to the poor. He withdraweth not his eyes from the righteous, but with kings are they on the throne. Yet he doeth. He showed them that their work and their transgression that they have exceeded. He opened also their ear in discipline and commanded that they return from iniquity. If they obey and serve him, they shall spend their days in prosperity and their years in pleasure. If they obey not, they shall perish by the sword and they shall die without knowledge. But the hypocrites in that heap up wrath, they cry not when he binded them. Then they die in their youth, and their life is among the unclean. He delivered the poor in his affliction and opened their ears. Even so, would he have removed thee out of the street into a broad place, when there is no straightness, and that which be set on thy table should be full of fatness? But thou hast filled the judgment of the wicked, the judgment and justice take hold of thee, because there is wrath. Okay, I'll be back shortly, please. Sorry. Will he esteem his riches? No, not of gold, nor the forces of his strength. Desire not the night when people are cut off in their place. Take heed, regard not iniquity, for this hast thou chosen rather than affliction. Because God, behold, God exalted by his power, who teacheth like him, who had enjoined him his way, or who can say, Thou hast wrought iniquity. Remember thou that thou magnify his work, which men behold. Every man may see it, men may behold it afar off. Behold, great is God is great, and we know him not. Neither can the number of his years be searched out. For he maketh small drops of water. They pour down rain according to the vapor thereof, which the clouds do drop and distill upon man abundantly. Also can any understand the spreadings of the cloud or the noise of his tabernacles? Or the noise of his tabernacle? Behold, he spreadeth his light upon it, and covereth the bottom of the sea. Judgeth, for by them judgeth he the people. He giveth meat in abundance. With clouds covered the light, and commanded it not to shine. That the cloud cometh betwixt, the noise thereof showeth concerning it, and the cattle also concerning vapor. Chapter 37. Also, at this also my heart trembleth, and is moved out of his place. Hear attentively the noise of his voice, and the sound that goeth forth out of his mouth. He directed it under the whole heaven, and is lightning unto the ends of the earth. After it a voice roareth. He thundereth with the voice of his excellency, and he will not stay them when his voice is heard. God thundereth marvelously in his voice, with his voice. Great things doeth he, which we cannot comprehend. For he saith unto the snow, Be thou on the earth. Likewise to the small rain, and to the great rain of his strength. He laid up the hand of every man, and all the men may know his work. Then the beasts go into dens, and remain in their places. Out of the south cometh the whirlwind, and the cold out of the north. By the breath of God frost is given, and the breath of the waters is strained. Also by the watering he wearieth the thick cloud, he scattereth his bright cloud, and it is turned round about by his counsels, that he may do to whatsoever he commanded them. He may do whatsoever he commanded them upon the face of the world in the earth. He caused it to come, whether for correction or for his land or for mercy. Hearken unto this, O Job, stand still and consider the wondrous works of God. Dost thou know when God disposed them and caused the light out of his cloud to shine? Dost thou know the balancings of the clouds and the wondrous works of him which is perfect in knowledge? How thy garments are worn when he quieted the earth by the south wind? Hast thou with him spread out the sky, which is strong and molten looking glass? Teach us what we shall say unto him, for we cannot order our speech by reasons of darkness. Shall it be told him that I speak? If a man speak, surely shall be swallowed up. And now men see not the bright light which is in the clouds, but the wind passeth and cleanseth them. Fair weather cometh out of the north. God is terrible. God is terrible majesty. Touching the Almighty, we cannot find him out. He is excellent in power and in judgment, and in plenty of justice he will not afflict. Men do therefore fear him. He respected not any that are wise of heart. Chapter 38. Then the Lord answered Job out of the whirlwind and said, Who is this that darkeneth counsel by words without knowledge? Gird up thy loins now like a man, for I will demand of thee, and answer thou me. Where was thou when I laid the foundations of the earth? Declare if thou hast understanding. Who hath laid the measures thereof, if thou knowest, or who hath stretched the line upon it? Whereupon are the foundations thereof fastened, or who laid the cornerstone thereof? When the morning stars sang together, and all the sons of God should shout for glory, or who shut up the heavens with doors when it brake forth, as if it had issues out of the tomb? When I made the cloud the garment thereof, and thick darkness is swaddling band for it, and break up for it my decreed place, and set bars and doors. And he said, Hitherto shalt thou come, but no further, and here shall thy proud waves be stayed. Hast thou commanded the morning since thy days, and caused the day spring to know his place, that it might take hold of the ends of the earth, and that wickedness might be shaken out of it? It is turned as clay to the seal, that they stand as a garment. And from the wicked their light is withheld, and the high arm shall be broken. Hast thou entered into the springs of the sea, or hast thou walked in the search of the depth? Have the have thy have the gates of den have the gates of den been opened unto thee, or hast thou seen the doors of the shadow of death? Hast thou perceived the breadth of the earth? Declare if thou knowest it all. Where is the way where light dwelleth? And as for darkness, where is the place thereof? That thou shouldest take it to bound thereof, and that thou shouldest know the path to the house thereof. Knowest thou it because when thou wast born, or because the number of thy days is great? Hast thou entered into the treasures of the snow, or hast thou seen the treasures of the hail, which I have reserved against the time of trouble, against the day of battle and war? By what way is the light parted, which scattered the east wind upon the earth? Who hath divided a watercourse for the overflowing rivers, or a way for the lightning and of thunder? To cause it to rain on the earth when no man is, on the wilderness wherein there is no man, to satisfy the desolate and waste ground, and to cause the bud of the tender herb to spring forth. Hath the rain a father, or who hath begotten the drops of dew, out of whose womb came the ice, and the hoary frost of heaven? Who hath gendered it? The waters are hid as with a stone, and the face of the deep is frozen. Canst thou bind the sweet influences of the Pleiades, or loose the bands of Orion? Canst thou bring forth Mazzaroth in his season, or canst thou guide Artochus with his sons? Knowest thou the ordinances of heaven, came, and, and thou set dominion thereof in the earth? Knowest thou the ordinance of heaven? Can thou set the dominion thereof in the earth? Can thou lift up thy voice in the clouds, and the abundance of water may cover thee? Can thou send lightnings that they may go and say unto thee, Here we are? Who hath put wisdom in the inward parts, or who hath given understanding to the earth? Who can number the clouds in wisdom? Who can say to the stay the bottles of heaven? When the dust groweth into hardness, and the clouds cleave fast together, wilt thou hunt the prey for the lion, or fill the appetite of the young lions? When they couch in their dens and abide in the covert to lie in wait, who provided for the raven his food? When his young ones cry unto God, they wander for lack of meat. Chapter 39. Knowest thou the time when the wild goats of the rock bring forth, or canst thou mark when the hinds do calve? Canst thou number the months that they fulfill, or knowest thou the time when they bring forth? They bow themselves, they bring forth their young ones, or they cast out their sorrows. Their young ones are in good liking. They grow up with the corn. They go forth and return not unto them. Who hath sent out the wild ass for free? Or who hath loosed the band of the wild ass? Whose house have I made the wilderness, and the barren land his dwellings? He scorned the multitude of the city, neither regarded he the crying of the deliverer, of the driver. The range of the mountains is his pasture. He searcheth after every green thing. Will the unicorn be willing to serve thee, or abide in thy corp? Can thou bind the unicorn with his hand in the furrow? Without trusting because his strength is great, or without leave thy labor to him, without believing that he will bring home thy seed and gather it into thy barn? Givest thou the goodly wings unto the peacocks, or wings and feathers unto the ostrich, which leaveth her eggs in the earth and warmeth them in the dust, and forgetteth that the foot may crush them, or that the wild beast may break them? She is hardened against her young ones as though they were not hers. And labor, because God had deprived her of wisdom. She is hardened against her young one as though they were not hers. Her labor is in vain without fear, because God had deprived her of wisdom, neither has he imparted to her understanding. What time she lifted up herself on, and she scorned the horse and his rider. Hast thou given the horse strength? Hast thou clothed his neck with thunder? Can thou make him afraid as a grasshopper? The glory of his nostrils is terrible. He powered in the valley and rejoiceth in his strength. He goeth out to meet armed men. He mocketh at fear and is not affrighted. Neither turneth he back from the sword. The quiver hath led against him, the glittering spear and the shield. He swallowed the ground with fierceness and rage. Neither believeth that that it is the sound of the trumpet. He said among the trumpet, Ha ha, and he smelled the battle afar, the thunder of the captains and the shouting. The hawk fly by thy wisdom and stretch out their wings towards the south. Doth the hawk fly by wisdom and stretch forth her hands towards the south? Doth the eagle mount up at thy command? And make her nest on high? She dwelleth and abideth on the rock, upon the crag of the rock and the strong place. From thence she seeketh the prey, and her eyes behold afar off. Her young ones also suck up blood, and where the slain are, there she is. Chapter 40. Moreover, the Lord answered Job and said, Shall he that contended with the Almighty instruct him? He that reproveth God, let him answer it. Then Job answered the Lord and said, Behold, I am vile. What shall I answer thee? I will lay my hand upon my mouth. Once have I spoken, but I will not answer. Yea, twice, but I will proceed no further. Then answered the Lord unto Job out of the whirlwind, Gird up thy loins now like a man. I will demand of thee, and declare thou unto me. Wilt thou also be discern all my judgments? Wilt thou condemn me, that thou mayest be righteous? Hast thou an arm like God, or can thou thunder with a voice like him? Deck thyself now with majesty and excellency, and array thyself with glory and beauty. Hmm. Cast abroad the rage of thy wrath, and behold everyone that is proud and abasing. Look on everyone that is proud, and bring him low, and tread down the wicked in their place. Hide them in the dust together, and bind their faces in secret. They will also then will I also confess to thee thine own right hand, and can save thee. Behold now Behemoth, which I made with thee. He eateth grass as an ox. Lo, his strength is in his loins, and his force is in the navel of his belly. He moveth his tail like a cedar. The sinews of his stones are wrapped together. His bones are strong pieces of brass. Surely the mountains bring him food, where all the beasts of the field prey. Chapter where all the beasts of the field. He is the chief of the ways of God. He is the chief of the ways of God. Sorry. Behold now Behemoth which I have made. Lo, now his strength is in his loins. Navel. He moveth his tail like cedar. The sinews of his stones are wrapped together. His bones are strong pieces of brass. His bones are like bars of iron. He is the chief of the ways of God. He that made him can make his sword to approach unto him. Surely the mountains bring him forth food, where all the beasts of the field play. He lieth under shady trees. Surely the mountains bring forth food, where all the beasts of the field play. He lieth under the shady trees in the covert of the reed and fence. The shady tree cover him with their shadow, the willows of the brook compass him. Behold, he drinketh up a river and hasteneth not. He trusted that he can draw up Jordan to his mouth. He taketh it with his eyes. His nose pierceth through snares. Chapter 41. Canst thou draw out Leviathan with an hook, or his tongue with a cord which thou lettest down? Can thou put an hook into his nose, or bore his jaw through with a thorn? Will he make any supplications unto thee? Will he speak soft words unto thee? Will he make a covenant with thee without taking him for a servant forever, without play with him as with a bird? Or will thou bind him for thy maidens? Shall the companions make a banquet of him? Shall they part him among the merchants? Can thou fill his skin with barbed iron, or his head with fishing spears? Will he make of a covenant with thee, without play with him as with a bird, or bind him with for thy maidens? Can thou fill his skin with barbed irons, or his head with fish spears? Lay thine hand upon him, remember the battle, do no more. Behold, the hope of him is in vain. Shall not one be cast down even at the sight of him? None is so fierce that dare stir him up. Who then is able to stand before me? Who hath prevented me that I should repay him? Whatsoever is under the whole heaven is mine. I will not conceal his part, nor his power, nor his comely proportion. Who can discover the face of his garment, or who can come to him with his double bridle? Who can open the doors of his face? His teeth are terrible round about. His scales are his pride, and one is near to another. There is no air that can come between them. His scales are his pride, shut up together as a close seal. They are joined to one another, they stick together, they cannot be sundered. By his sneezing a light doth shine, and his eyes are like the eyelids of the morning. Out of his mouth go burning lamps, and sparks of fire leap out. Out of his nostril goeth smoke, as out of a seething pot or cauldron. His breath kindled coals, and a flame goeth out of his mouth. In his neck remaineth strength, and sorrow is turned into joy before him. The flakes of his flesh are joined together, and they are firm in themselves, they cannot be moved. His heart is as firm as a stone, and as hard as a piece of nether millstone. When he raised up himself, the mighty are afraid. By reason of the breakings, they purify themselves. The sword of him that layeth at him cannot hold, the spear, the dart, nor the habergeon. He esteemeth iron as straw, and brass as rotten wood. The arrow cannot make him flee. The sling stones are turned to him into stubble, turned with him into stubble. Darts are counted as stubble. He languideth. His heart is as firm as stone, yea, as of pin millstone. The arrows cannot make him flee. Slingshots are turned toward him into stubble. Darts are counted as stubble. He laugheth at the shaking of his spears. Sharp stones are under him. He spreadeth his sharp pointed things upon the mire. He maketh the deep to boil like a pot. He maketh the sea like a point of ointment. He maketh a path to shine after him. One would think the deep to be horrid. Upon the earth there is not like his, who is made without fear. He beholdeth all high things, is a king over all children of pride. Then Job answered, chapter 42. Then Job answered the Lord and said, I know that thou canst do everything, and that no thought can be withheld from thee. Who is he that hideth counsel without knowledge? Therefore have I uttered that I understood not, things too wonderful for me which I knew not. Here I beseech thee, and I will speak, I will demand of thee, and declare thou unto me. I have heard thee by the hearing of the ear, but now my eye seeth thee. Wherefore I abhor myself, and I repent in dust and ashes. And it was so that after the Lord had spoken these words unto Job, the Lord said to Eliphaz the Temanite, my wrath is kindled against thee and against thy two friends, for ye have not spoken of me in the thing that is right, as my servant Job hath. Therefore take now unto you 7 bullocks and 7 rams, and go to my servant Job, and offer up for yourself a burnt offering, and my servant Job shall pray for you. For him will I accept, lest I deal with you after your folly, in that ye have not spoken of me the thing which is right, like my servant Job. So Eliphaz the Temanite, and Bildad the Shuhite, and Zophar the Naamathite went and did according as the Lord commanded them. The Lord also accepted Job, and the Lord turned the captivity of Job when he prayed for his friends. Also the Lord gave Job twice as much as he had before. Then came there unto him all his brethren and all his sisters, and all they that have been of his acquaintance, and did eat bread with him in the house. And they bemoaned him and comforted him all over all the evil that brought upon him. Every man also gave him a piece of money, and every one an earring of gold. So the Lord blessed the later end of Job more than his beginning, for he had 14,000 sheep and 6,000 camels, and 1,000 yoke of oxen, and 1,000 she asses. He also had 7 sons and 3 daughters. And he called the name of the first Jemimah, and the name of the second Keziah, and the name of the third Keren Happuch. And in all the land were no women found so fair as the daughters of Job, and their father gave them inheritance among their brethren. And this lived Job 140 years, and saw his sons and his sons' sons, even 4 generations. So Job died, being old and full of days. The Lord bless the reading of his word in Jesus' name. Amen. Tomorrow we begin with the Psalms.